All right, guys, today we have some very big and very exciting news to talk about coming out of the LCS. I tried getting Wooloo to hop on for this video, but he's just a little bit too cool, a little bit too busy for us today. So this is Germ going solo bolo on this one, but I'm getting this story from LCS Eevee himself. Very, very big and exciting stuff. I Will Dominate reaches a verbal agreement to join Cloud9 as strategic coach in person for the LCS in 2026. So I Will Dominate will be Cloud9's new strategic coach ahead of the 2026 LCS season. Again, we're LCS now. We're not LTA anymore. This is super exciting. It's already a pretty exciting time to be an LCS fan. Hopefully we're getting back to the way things should be. And I Will Dominate is going to be a part of that era for Cloud9. He's already been working as a consultant, and like remote coach and stuff like that for the team throughout 2025. I Will Dominate was a remote coach for Cloud9 for almost the entire 2025 season. This is according to the info in the article and stuff that Eevee is giving to me. Obviously, this article might already be out on the Sheep Esports website. I don't know if it's out yet or it's about to come out or whatever, but that's also why we have this video content for you guys to get some of that info as well. And like I said, most of the time on this channel, we're hopefully going to be also hearing from the leakers themselves and getting all that info and stuff. But there's going to be times when people are busy, and we'll still be able to get this information out to you guys pretty quickly. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest information during this hopefully crazy LCS and LEC offseason. So I Will Dominate is set to become Cloud9's strategic coach for the 2026 season. The organization is entering the next LCS season with the will to shake some things up. Primarily a content creator in recent years, he's been working with with this team throughout the entire 2025 season, and he is now being promoted to Anero's coaching staff and will aim to help the organization find a way to reclaim its glory in the league. Obviously, Cloud9 the last couple of years have not been exactly what they were hoping for, exactly what they were wanting. So they're making some big changes. Anero is obviously a big name, a guy who's been around the scene, been a part of many different organizations, a guy who, does have a lot of people's respect in North America. So obviously this is a big opportunity for Anero to really prove what he can do, at a big organization, at the front of the helm and stuff like that. And I Will Dominate, him getting to prove himself a little bit as well. Obviously he's been a guy who's been around the LCS for many, many years, been around competitive League of Legends for many, many years, been a top level player for many, many years. I'm sure he has ideas and, ways that he thinks to implement strategies and implement information and help people improve and stuff like that. So it's going to be really, really cool to see. There's a big opportunity for them because obviously Cloud9 is a big organization. They're one that's focused on winning. They're one that prides themselves on winning, and obviously they haven't been necessarily at their winning ways over the past couple of years. So getting to help an organization reclaim its glory can be a good thing. Sometimes you're stuck at organizations that, no matter how good of a coach or how good of a player or whatever, they're not going to give you the right resources or things to, actually improve and get to winning. But that's not the situation with Cloud9. Cloud9 is going to set you up, hopefully, in at least good enough spots to where if you have the right roster, if you are a good enough coach, if you do have, players who improve and stuff like that and are driven to win, that you can actually have some results. So Cloud9 is obviously one of the best orgs to get opportunities like this with. It's not like he's joining as a coach on some bottom tier team where even if he was the best coach in the world, it wouldn't matter. So this is a really, really cool opportunity for I Will Dominate, obviously, and hopefully going to be a big opportunity for Cloud9 as well to actually improve, because when Cloud9's good, it's good for the LCS. They're a team with a very, very big fan base. They're a popular organization. I did think this is interesting as well. Eevee does say in this article that I Will Dominate also received interest from Team Liquid as a coach. So, many people seeing the value in Dom's potential, assets and what he can bring to an organization, stuff like that. He's obviously a big name as well. This move means I Will Dominate will no longer be a full-time streamer or content creator, which is obviously a pretty substantial hit to the content creation scene. Dom has been a very, very massive person in co-streaming and streaming in YouTube. He's making clips about esports and making streams about esports and covering the stories and giving his own insights and knowledge. He's obviously a guy with a ton of different connections, but also he can relate things to his past experience in esports and stuff like that. So he's a guy who had, a pretty unique perspective and also a very, very, big fan base. He has big channels, big social and stuff like that. And that leaving the esports ecosystem in the West is a pretty big hit. There is going to be a void that maybe will be filled by other people. Maybe more people are going to go to Cadril or more people are going to go to whoever, or maybe it's just a void that's going to remain unfilled and people are going to maybe be not as interested. I don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting. There's going to be big, that's a big hit because like I said, he's a popular person. There's not a ton of huge esports content creators and guys who, mainly focus on esports in the West, but Dom has been a staple for many, many years now. he's going to go towards working with Cloud9 as a coach in person. So like I said, that's obviously going to take away from a lot of the stuff he's been doing online or remote and everything like that. During the LTA North 2025 season, he hinted on stream that he was considering taking a break from streaming to focus more on coaching. Dom has, been around the scene for 15 years with competitive experience with the North American League of Legends scene and the Western League of Legends scene. Veteran jungler, well-known streamer, made his professional start in the early days of the LCS, competing with Dignitas, Curse, Team Liquid, crazy stuff. He became both a sub and coach within the organizations before stepping back from active play in 2016. He then transitioned into content creation with Team Liquid before joining Cloud9 in 2020, again as a creator. He's remained at the organization and then he eventually became a fully independent streamer later on. In 2025, Dom returned to the competitive scene, joining the ambitious Ruddy Sack project in the NLC. So, that was kind of him getting his foot back and dipping his toe back into the competitive scene. And, he must have that itch. He must, obviously, Ruddy Sack didn't necessarily go over that well or whatever. It wasn't, I'm sure, the success that they were hoping it would be after seeing stuff like Los Ratones and stuff like that. But I'm sure that did kind of ignite Dom's fire a little bit again. And obviously, it seems like he's a very competitive guy. It's always seemed like that. And yeah, streaming is fun and easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but it's chill and you can make a lot of money and all that stuff. But he's been doing that for a while. And ambitious people, when stuff kind of gets stale or stagnant or whatever, they get the itch. They want to get going again. And to me, it seems like that's probably what's going on with Dom here. So known as much for his outspoken personality and analytical approach as for his activity on Twitter, Dom, his rival, is signaling a will to strengthen the core of Cloud9 after a challenging year. The team entered 2025 with high expectations, but obviously, like I said, that these last couple years have had high expectations, hasn't necessarily gone their way. On paper, Cloud9 looked like a championship contender. In practice, however, the team fell short. With the immortal jungler Blabber leading the charge, Cloud9 suffered a string of near misses, falling to Team Liquid in Split 1, losing the Split 2 Grand Final, going to Game 5 against FlyQuest, and crumbling to a resurgent 100 Thieves in Split 3. While no roster changes have been confirmed yet for the upcoming offseason, Cloud9 is clearly taking steps to bring a new dynamic forward. So very, very big news coming out of the LCS today. I'm really happy to bring you guys this news and really happy to be back, with LEC and LCS offseason content once again. Thank you to Evie for getting the story over to us and allowing us to make a video out of this. And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on what you think Dom is going to be able to do or bring to Cloud9, and what you think this means for them going forward in the future. Is the future bright for Cloud9, or do you think it's a new era of the LCS where Cloud9 isn't as relevant as they once were and maybe never will be again? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.